Okay, this video is going to go through 31 through 40 of the study guide. Which expression is a factor of 24x squared plus 16x plus 144? So we're looking for which one of these is a factor, right? So we're not looking for the whole factorization, just one factor. So if I look at this, I can clearly see that 4 goes in all of those, so I'm going to divide all these by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And I'm going to have to put that one in the calculator. And get 36. But if I look at this again, I'm going to notice, oh, those are all divisible by 2. So let's go ahead and do it one more time. Take a 2 out. Get 3 plus 2x plus 18. And I could see if I could factor this any farther, but it did ask me for a factor. And looking at this 8 is going to be a factor because 2 times 4 is 8. So one factor is 8, and the other factor is 3x squared plus 2x plus 18. I can tell that D is not going to be the answer to this, like the full factorization, because this is a positive, and that's going to tell me they have the same signs, right? And these have different signs, so I can go ahead and mark that out. The other two aren't there, and C is this expression, right? So C is my answer. 32. Which of these shows a complete factorization of 6x squared y squared minus 9xy minus 42? So it says complete factorization, so we know we're going to change this trinomial to 2 binomials. I'll go over here. I've got a negative and a positive, and all that. But actually, let's look at these coefficients first, right? So 6, 9, and 42, those are all going to be divisible by 3, so I'm going to step back a step first. And just go ahead and take that 3 out. Then we'll do the next step. So 3 be 2x squared y squared. Take a 3 out of there. It's going to be 3. And 42 divided by 3 is going to be 14. Now let's go ahead and do those binomials, right? So 3 stays outside. Remember, it always does that. I know these are going to be different signs because it's negative. I go ahead and put my variables on either side. So there's an x and a y, an x and a y. Now I do first times last, a times c. So 2 times 14. That is 28. I'm going to find the factors of 8 that are going to subtract to be 3. So I'm going to take the factors of 8, 28 that subtract to be 3. I think it's going to be 7 and 4, right? And I need the bigger one to be negative because this is negative. So 7, 4. If I multiply in the beginning, I have to divide in the end. My leading coefficient is 2, so I'm going to divide this by 2 and this by 2. So I'm going to skip down under this. 3 stays. This divides by 2, so we're going to just put x, y, plus 4 divided by 2 is 2. This does not divide, so that's when we kick. And that's going to be my answer. Let's go find that. It is... do this one. 2xy, yep. And this is just written backwards in mine. That doesn't matter. Remember, these can be in any order. Now, I could go through and just mark all these out. If you didn't finish this, I could have done it without it. Remember, since this is x squared y squared, I need an x on each side and 1 y on each side. So this has 2 y's, a can't be right. This has 2 y's, b can't be right. And then we have to have the 3 outside from that very first step, so b can't be right for that reason. So the only one that could have been right is c. 33 says, find the zeros of the function represented by the quadratic expression. I know when they say the word zeros, I'm going to put this equal to 0. So 2x squared plus x minus 3 equals 0. I'm going to do the same thing I just did right there. So I'm going to do my binomials. This time there's definitely no common factor because of 2 and a 3. This is negative, so I've got a plus and a minus. I'm going to do 2 times 3 is 6. That's going to subtract to be 1. And that's just 2 and 3 again. I need the bigger one to be positive. And write our x's. If I multiply in the beginning, I divide in the end. Divide both these by 2. So I get 2x plus 3 and x minus 1, because 2 divided by 2 is 1. And now I just got to solve for each side. So 2x plus 3 equals 0. Minus 3 on both sides. Divide by 2. X equals negative 3 over 2, and we'll solve the other one. X minus 1 equals 0, and we just add the 1 to both sides to get x equals 1. So here are my two answers. Positive 1, negative 3 over 2. Positive 1, negative 3 over 2, that is A. 34, what is the vertex of this graph? Remember the vertex, we have to get the axis of symmetry and then plug it in. So axis of symmetry is the formula you have to remember. X equals negative b over 2a. B is 10, negative 10 over 2 times, there's an imaginary 1. Gives me negative 5. Now I just have to plug it in to get this. So I'm going to do f of negative 5 equals negative 5 squared plus 10 times negative 5 is 9. And all I'm doing is multiplying. So we're going to have negative 25 minus 9 is going to be negative 34. So we've got our x value and our y value. Come over here. Where we have x is negative 5, y is negative 34. That is D. Which of these is the result of completing the square for this expression? So we haven't really talked about this one much. I'm going to show you how to do it on here. We skipped it because there's probably 1 or 2 of these on the test. But if you're watching this, you can get it. Not terribly hard, but kind of confusing. So watch closely. So my goal with completing the square is going to be to get what adds to itself to be this number. And I'm going to double that. So I'm going to actually rewrite this with a blank. And then minus 30. And what I'm going to do is whatever I write right here, I'm actually going to subtract at the end. So it's not like I'm really adding anything. So I'm going to add it here, I'm going to subtract it there. So when I do this, I'm going to go ahead and write the next step. And I need whatever's going to double to become 8. So that's 4. Half of 8 is 4. But what I'm going to put right here is going to be this number squared, because when I FOIL this back out, I get 4 times 4 is 16. And I put that in both blanks up here. So I add 16 to this equation, and I take it away again, because half of 8 was 4. When I FOIL this back out, I would get this number. And now all I got to do is simplify. So this stuff all sticks together. This is how I got this, and I just need to add these. So negative 30 and negative 16 is going to be negative 46. And that is B. 36. The expression negative x squared plus 70x minus 600 represents the company's profit for selling x items. Which numbers of items sold is the company's profit equal to $0. So the reason that A is there is because that's what we assume that they're going to get. But remember, you have to pay money before you can actually start making things. So if we have 0 items, we're actually going to be in the negative amount of money. So really we just got to solve this because it says it's equal to 0, so we just need to put negative x squared plus 70x minus 600 equals 0. And we have done a ton of these. We know exactly what to do. We can either use quadratic formula or we can solve by factoring. Since I've done the others by solving by factoring, let's go ahead and do this one with the quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Go ahead and rewrite that down here. Negative b, 70 is b, plus or minus 70 squared minus 4 times negative 1 times negative 600, let's see, all over 2 times a, which is negative 1. And I'm going to grab a calculator and put that in there real fast. Okay, you can see that I have plugged that into the calculator. Oh, there's the layer. There you go. So I've plugged that in the calculator. I'm just going to hit enter. I got 10 for my first answer. Remember, I can go back, hit enter on that, and just scroll back through to change my other sign to a minus sign. And we get my second answer. So my answers are 10 and 60. So C is my answer. 37 says, for the formula of the area, the circle, A equals pi r squared, which equation shows it in terms of R? We've done a ton of these. We need to get R by itself is what they are saying. So I need to get R all alone. To do that, I need to do the opposite of what everything's done. So right now it's being multiplied by pi. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. Now I've got r squared. They didn't ask me to solve for r squared. They asked me to solve for r. So I am going to take the square root because that is opposite of squaring. Those will cancel. Square root both sides. And that is C. Number 38. What are the solutions to this? Let's go ahead and factor out this 2. Because I look at these and I see, yeah, those definitely all have a 2 in them. Go ahead and solve this. Different signs because it is negative. Factors of 6, that will add to be, or that will subtract to be 1, or to be 2 and 3. 3 is bigger because it's negative. So I'm going to set each of these equal to 0. This one doesn't work because I don't have an x, so x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, x is negative 2, or positive 3. So negative 2, positive 3. That is C. 39 and 40 are the same question. I'm not going to have time to do it right now, so I will do 39 on the next video.